Hi guys, welcome to class. This is a speaking class designed for advanced students, and we're going to talk about a very hot topic, and that's poverty. And maybe we'll talk about wealth as well and things like this, and how we define poverty, how big a deal is it, and also are we considered in poverty in our countries, things like this. Yeah, so we'll find the official definitions of what it actually means to be in poverty. So hopefully lots of people can join, and it should be quite an interesting discussion. Igor, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We did a similar thing a while ago, I think a couple of months ago, yeah? So it'll be this kind of discussion, but you're ready, right?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. Okay, poverty, what do you think of it?
What do you think about, what do you mean, what do you think?
What's your opinion on poverty? Does poverty exist?
No.
Ever?
Poverty is in your head.
So poverty is about your...
No, I'm just joking. Of course exists. Of course it exists.
No, but actually... I don't know. Okay, well, it depends on
I heard this expression somewhere on TV that poverty is in your head, crisis in your head. So, but I'm not agree.
Yeah, well, it depends on the country. Yeah, so I'd say maybe like in somewhere like the UK, it's a mentality thing. Yeah, if you're in poverty, if you can't get food, then that's probably something you're doing wrong. Yeah, because there are ways. There's ways of doing it from the government even. Yeah, so if you're in poverty, then that's a problem with you maybe. Okay, so but it depends on the country. But okay, this is going to be interesting. I take it. Right, Dennis.
Yes. Hello, Martin. Hello, Ciao. Hello, Igor.
Good to speak with you, Dennis. What would you say about poverty? Does it exist?
Yes. It exists.
It does exist. It does exist.
It does. I'm sorry. It does exist. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just a state of mind. It's not about money, it's not about mentality, and I don't know, I don't believe in poverty. Actually, you always can get an average salary at least.
Yeah. So you're then defining poverty as below average salary?
Yeah.
I'm in poverty. No. Yeah, okay, so this thing, so if you basically take an average salary, then anything below would be poverty. Okay, Igor, how would you define it?
Maybe minimal, Dennis meant below minimal.
Minimum wage, yeah, minimum wage.
Yeah, minimal. This is poverty. If you have minimal wage, you are not in poverty, no?
No, Martin. If you are beggar, you are in. How can I say it's what is it? It's not a poverty. It's what is law?
I think
beggar.
Yeah. So poverty is basically you struggle to pay for things. Yeah, this is the thing. The basic necessities. And this, the average would be a good benchmark to know, because that's what most people can afford with this money and stuff like this. So you're saying it's about money and also about how much you earn and things like this. But it's not like being a beggar.
Beggary, this word exists, yeah?
Yeah, beggar, to be a beggar, yeah.
So if you below minimum salary, you are in beggary?
So no. What did you say? Beggary? Desperation? Poverty, I would say, yeah? So I'd say it's all poverty. But there's another word. It's quite a new word because the BBC issued some kind of new class calculator to work out your new social class. And they had a word, but I've forgotten it. So it's in poverty, and then there's something else. But
utter poverty, something like this.
I have no idea.
Ultimate poverty. I don't know.
Extreme poverty. Yeah, I would say extreme poverty. Poverty is really, really impoverished. You can't do anything. Why can't I send them? Okay, so I've got it on my screen, but I just can't send it to you. Right, okay, so this is quite interesting. Manuel, what would you say? How would you define poverty?
Okay, hello everyone. Wait, could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Oh, sorry, Emmanuel. Yeah. So it's a big question to introduce you with. Good to speak with you, Emmanuel. I think actually I've just noticed we haven't spoken before. Is that true?
It's my second class in this building.
Okay. Sorry for pushing you in the deep end. But Emmanuel, good to speak with you. Where are you from?
I'm from Chile, Santiago.
From Chile. Okay, perfect. And what would you say? We're talking about poverty today. What's your definition of poverty?
Okay, for me, the poverty, economically speaking, is the minimum wage that the people have to pay things. And for my country, stay in poverty is to stay in less than $400 per month.
$400 per month, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a figure on it. And also in the UK, they put a figure on it as well. But you're saying $400 would be a figure, yeah? But can you survive on under $400?
I think that it's very hard to survive with the prices in Chile with $400. I think so. And if you see in Chile, the minimum wage is approximately $300, and sometimes there are families that live with this wage, and families with 3 or 4 people live with $300 or $400 in a month.
For the whole family?
For the whole family, yeah, it's very hard.
And $400, is that for the whole family? Is it per house or is it per person that defines poverty?
It's sometimes there are families that only the father work, and he won the minimum wage that is in law in Chile. The minimum wage is $400, and the whole family live with that.
Yeah. Okay, so that will be it. Yeah. So the whole family living on this money, one person's salary, would be so. Yeah. And this is what is this changing though the way people look at the family structure. So, for example, are more women now going to work because they have to, not because they want to, but because they have to, just to make ends meet. This is an expression, I'll write it down for you. To make Google chat, for some reason I can't write anything on the verb in chat, but I'll write it on the Google chat for you. Okay, so to make ends meet. Has anyone heard of this before? To make ends meet.
Where is the chat?
I'll just share my screen with you so you can see.
Okay, I saw. What's the meaning to make ends meet?
Does anyone know? Before I say, does anyone know? Has anyone heard it before? Chow, do you know? To make ends meet.
The budget, balance the budget. I mean
Yeah.
I don't see how to say it in. I mean you pay some. You have some specific plans, and you have a plan to pay something, and just a minor term, and you can control it.
To balance the books, to make sure, for example, if you've got to pay, I don't know how much rent is in your countries, but $300 for the apartment or $500 for the apartment, make ends meet would be have enough money to pay for that. Yeah, you make the ends meet is to balance the books, your own books. Make sure you have enough money to spend things. So in the UK, I would say women go to work, particularly if the family have mortgages and things like this, they have to go to work to make ends meet. If both parents don't work, then it's not possible to pay for things like the rent or the mortgage, things like this. So they do it out of necessity. How is this changing though in your country, Emmanuel, in Chile? Are more women working not because they want to, but because they have to in order to make ends meet?
Yeah, in Chile, the workforce of women have been increased very fast in the last 10 years. Nowadays, there is a new law for the females that after you have a baby, you could not work for 6 months, and it's changed because before you only had 3 months after you have a baby, and now you have 6 months. And it's a very useful law for the woman of my country because she could stay more with her babies,
Yeah.
with her sons, and it's improved her quality of the life. And in other ways, it's a problem because there are less motivation for contract women, and the entrepreneurs prefer to contract men because
Yeah.
they are cheaper.
And that's so in London, I'd say that officially it's illegal, but it's known that, you know, if two people apply for a job and a young woman applies for a job and a man applies for a job, you know, they're thinking, right, that woman is going to leave in a couple of months to have a baby, yeah, or a year's time. So it's too much of a risk. Even if she says, right, I'm not married, I'm not going to have children, you know, it's in the back of their minds that one day they could, you know, it's too much of a risk for them. They don't want to lose the time, they don't want to lose the money and stuff, which is bad, but it's, I guess, yeah, it's just one of the things. But what do you say, Juan? Okay, anything to add? Welcome. And what's your definition of poverty? And is there an official figure in your country? So Emmanuel says in Chile it's $400, right? If you earn less than $400, you're in poverty. How is it in your country, Juan?
Okay, well, the exact numbers I don't have them handy, but minimum wage is around 400 too. Also.
So it'd be similar.
Mm-hmm. However, $400 per person, you can survive, but you'll have to deprive of yourself of sometimes even of stuff that is basic needs.
Yeah, you can say necessities.
A necessity.
You have to sometimes deprive yourself of necessities, again, just to make ends meet. Okay, so you were saying similar situation. I'm just reading. In the UK, we have so many different types of poverty. Yeah, in the UK, we have water poverty even. So they're always talking about poverty, poverty, poverty. One of the ones they always talk about is fuel poverty, and this is when a family spends a specific proportion of their income on fueling their car. And if you fall below this, you're in fuel poverty or something like this. There's also water poverty, and this is where if you spend more than 3% of your disposable income, okay, disposable income will be a new word for you, I guess. Chow would definitely know this, right? Because he's like,
yeah, I
so,
know that.
apart from Chow knows what disposable income means.
I'm sorry, you mean?
Apart from Chow, because Chow knows, Emmanuel, do you know what disposable income is?
Yeah, it's the total income that you have to spend, that you have to spend.
Not the total income, but just that once you've paid all the bills, it's like the money you have left over. You're kind of saving money, the money you can save, or what we call beer money. Yeah, so the money you've paid, the rent, you've paid the bills, and now you can go to the pub. Yeah, with the leftover money. We call this is the disposable income, or in slang speak, or just normal speak, we say beer money. Yeah. And they're saying that in the UK, you are under water poverty if you spend 3% or more of your disposable income on water bills. Okay, so I don't know how much water costs, but if you spend 3% of your disposable income on water, then you're in water poverty, which I don't understand. Yeah, but that's so. And fuel poverty, if you're interested, you have to. Yeah, if you spend 10% of your income on fuel. Okay. This is not for cars. Sorry, I misunderstood. If you spend 10% of your income on, all fuel use, so including your car and to heat the home, then you are in fuel poverty. If you spend 10% or more, yeah. So if your income is £1,000 and you spend £100 on fueling the car and fueling your home, then you'll be in fuel poverty. But to be honest, I think that's normal. I don't understand why that's so much of a problem. But guys, do you have something like this that you talk about in your country? So fuel poverty, water poverty, something poverty, not just poverty as a general term. Zuran, we haven't spoken to you yet. Have you got
Martin, what it means fuel for home? It means electricity, water.
So,
okay, I don't know.
Yeah, fueling your home, to make your home warm, anything that helps your home get warm. But sometimes in the UK, particularly in the countryside areas and stuff, that is heated by oil. Yeah, so you heat your home by oil, but it's just any energy that you use. So if you spend 10% of your income on energy, then you are in fuel poverty. Yep, Emmanuel, fuel. Like that, like you spelt it.
When you say poverty, you say a word before the line of poverty.
Yeah, fuel. Fuel. Yep, you wrote it right. Yeah, FUEL. Exactly.
Fuel poverty.
It's like energy. So fuel for your car, fuel for your home, things like this. But I would say really it'll be just for your home. Yeah, I don't think the car's a necessity unless you live some kind of in the Highlands of Scotland where you have to drive 100 miles to go to get some bread. Yeah, so it's just the basic things you need to fuel things. Okay, so I find this quite interesting. Yeah, so Lai has joined us.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm here. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Have you followed what we've talked about so far?
Yeah. Today I was busy, so now I can join the class.
No worries. So welcome. Good to speak with you, Lai. We're talking about poverty today and how we define poverty. Yeah. So I would say, in my opinion, poverty doesn't exist in the UK, but officially it does. Yeah. And some of the definitions for me, I think, come on. Yeah. So it's not so bad. But we're going to talk about the situation in your country. So Juan's already. Sorry. Emmanuel said there's a figure in his country. It means if you earn less than $400, you are technically in poverty. Okay, so there's an official figure. Lai, how is it in your country? Is there a figure, or does it just depend on the individual person? Yeah, so what that person spends.
It depends on situation. Maybe in a city the standard of living is high, but in minority is low. Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on where you live. And the thing is, in the UK also there's a figure about your income, but I think it's crazy because London, for example, is the most expensive part. Yeah. And if you go to somewhere in the north, the figure's still the same, and I don't understand because the costs are different, how they can work that out, but that's interesting. Okay, so Zurem, what would you say? How would you define poverty?
Do you have a concept about housing? I think in China, housing is a big problem, and young people have to pay more than half of their monthly income to afford their house.
To rent their house, so half of the money.
To pay the loan.
The mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm just going to ask you how much you spend, guys, or maybe not, or average of your monthly income on rent. Okay, so.
Shanghai is the biggest city in China. A very normal house in a normal place, not the richest place. A normal place may ask about 2 or 3,000 RMB
per month.
Maybe the income of a young person is just 4,000 or 5,000.
So it's about half, yeah. So half would go on the rent, and I would say, well, in London, probably more would go on rent. It depends where you live in the UK, but I would say most people maybe would spend half of their income on rent. If you're outside of London, this can be less. If you're in London, it could be more. So it could be something like 70%, yeah, of your income just on rent. So I don't know what it's like in your countries, but Chow, would you agree? Yeah. So with what Zuran said, would you add anything?
Yeah, the housing price, it can be a measurement to define the poverty, I think. If you just thinking about the income, even though your income is high, but the life standard is also pretty high, so you may not reach. But if you consider the water poverty or fuel poverty or anyway the housing.
We've lost you.
You know, young people in Shanghai cannot afford their own house. They have to rent a house together.
So share, and that's what would happen in London usually. So to club together. I mean, my brother lived in London. I haven't, and you have to share. Yeah, it's the only way. Really on a normal salary to get your own apartment in London, certainly in a convenient area, is very difficult. Yeah, on average salary. So yeah, it would be similar. But outside of London, I mean, it's perfectly possible. In the other big cities like Manchester, rents are very cheap compared. Yeah, so I'd say that's just a factor for London. But guys, what else? Yeah, so Emmanuel, what do you say? Most people in your country, what proportion of their income do they spend on rent or housing costs, as in either to pay the mortgage back or to pay rent?
Could you read? I don't understand.
So, what proportion of so do you know what I mean by proportion?
Yeah.
Part.
Yeah. So, what proportion of the average person's salary would go out on housing costs? That is rent, and maybe paying the loan back to the bank if you own the house. And what proportion would it be? Around 50%, less than 50%?
Yeah, I think that in the medium income, in the medium family, you spend approximately, roughly, the 30% of your wage in pay the mortgage.
So 30% or so, yeah. So it's still okay. It's quite good. You have 70% left over.
Yeah. It's 30% approximately.
So it's convenient, yeah. So that's all right. Igor, what would you say in your country?
It depends how much do you make money. So if you make average salary, it will be about 40-50%, 60 maybe. 40 from 40 to 60. But if you have more than average salary, you are kind of rich. So here it's 30, 20 maybe.
Yeah, so still it's convenient, yeah? So it's 40%, it's less than half. Huan, what would you say in your country? Okay, we'll come back. Lai, what about in your country? And of course it depends if you live in the city or whatever, but average, the percentage of someone's income that they spend on housing costs.
You talk to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Housing in Vietnam is expensive. You have to pay a lot of money to own house, and maybe I read on the internet paper. They told to me if I live in Hanoi, I better I rent a room or if the department is better.
Yep.
If I buy a department or a housing, I have to pay a lot of money and service it. The service of the housing is very expensive.
Yeah, so personally, I find it more convenient to rent a room anyway because I don't like cleaning. Yeah, and if you share, you divide the cleaning of the kitchen, for example, in the bathroom, by whoever you live with. So for that, I find it quite convenient. But unless you can buy your own cleaner, yeah, which isn't so possible in the UK. Well, yeah, actually it is. It's fine to buy a cleaner, but it can be quite expensive depending. Okay, so Sri has joined us.
Hello. So it's the first time I joined this class. Could you tell me the topic? I mean,
Yeah, no worries, no
from
worries.
the first of all.
No worries. Okay, so we're talking about poverty and our definitions of
Yes.
poverty, what poverty means in our countries. So that's the topic. So Sri, how would you define poverty, and what does it mean in your country?
I mean, my own definitions.
Sorry?
Yes, you mean my own definitions?
Your own definition, yeah. So what does it mean for you?
So I think in the simplest definition, poverty is a condition where the people couldn't afford their life.
Yeah, so normal people can't afford to pay for necessities, basic things that they need to live. And we were also talking about housing and things like this. What's the housing situation in your country, and where are you from, sorry? I forgot to ask.
Oh yeah, I'm from Indonesia. Here there are so many people live under the lines of poverty.
Below, we say below the poverty line. So the poverty line's here.
Yeah,
below
the lines of poverty. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
How much of the average person's salary would the average person spend on their housing? So to rent the apartment or to buy an apartment, and what proportion?
Oh, it varies. I mean, sorry. It can vary. You can rent the apartment. I mean, here everybody has houses. They don't live in the apartments, so they build their own houses. And people that are considered as people that are considered as the poor is the one who don't have houses or don't have the place to stay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they're homeless. You can say homeless.
Yes, they are homeless.
I just read the messages. It used to be very good. Maybe the government catch me checking water. Nita. Okay. So, Chow. Yeah, you've finally been caught out by the government. Yeah. So here he is. Look. Take the mug shot. Take a screenshot of the mug shot. And yeah. Okay. So. So that's quite interesting. You were saying it's very similar if you haven't got a home. Okay, let's move on then. I'm going to share my screen because I found this resource that's quite useful. We're going to follow some questions from here and just have a conversation, things like this. It should be quite useful. Do you think the definition of poverty should be the same for people all around the world? Okay, I was looking, for example, here, the poverty in the UK. I didn't know, and I didn't know this before. I saw this a couple of months ago. I did a similar class with Igor, I think, before. But before that, I didn't know much about this. And they're saying there is no one definition of poverty. The most common measure is household income below 60% of median income. So this means basically, if you earn 60% of average salary, you are in poverty. So that means what? Okay, wait. So if you are single and you earn £100 per week and you have no children, you're just on your own, you have £100 a week, it's easy to convert to dollars. I'll convert it to dollars. That's $150. You are in poverty, but if you have two adults in the household, the 183. Oh, I can't work this out. What's 180 times 1.5? 270, right? $270 if there are two people in your household per week. Also, if you a single adult living with two children, it will be the same, so $270 a week. And if you have two adults living with two children, the figure would be, Chow, you're good at maths. Come on, Chinese people are very good at maths. Can you do this? I'm like pretty big.
No, I'm not good at math.
So what's 270 times 1.5? Wait, 135.
1.5.
About $400, right? about $400. Okay, so $400 have 2 children. So these are the figures, although it really depends. I think this is stupid saying as a general term because, like I said, if you live in Manchester, the costs are what, like 30% of London, you know, or okay, maybe not that. Yeah, probably around 30% for housing or whatever. And if you live in a smaller town like me, even less. Yeah. So I don't think it's fair to say that everyone in the UK, if they earn that, they're in poverty or whatever. But definitely in London, you would be dead on this, maybe. Yeah. So unless you already owned an apartment. Okay. So this is the official definition, but like I said, I'm not sure if that's so. But should the definition of poverty be the same around the world? So there's an international standard, I think. If you earn less than $1 or $4 per day, you are in poverty, and that's like around the world. But should it be the same around the world, or should it be different depending on the country? Ciao.
Yeah, it should be depends on the countries, cities, or whatever. Can you help me? I'm afraid my connection went too bad. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, for example, if you just for a small cities or for a extreme case for a monk or temper, that the people who live in that situation, they don't need too much money, but they are not in poverty, right? So I think it should be depends on the countries, on the life standard. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know this money in London is different from this money somewhere else. Yeah, so it's true that the living costs are a factor. Okay, so Dennis, what do you say about this? Should there be an international standard?
Maybe it should be, but it isn't. Of course, it depends on country, but as I said before, I think if you earn less than average level in your country, you are in poverty, of course. And I'm just thinking about these numbers, about 400 per week with two children, yeah. I think most of the people in Russia live in poverty.
Okay, yeah, but the thing is also...
to speak about these numbers.
These figures. What about the cost, though, yeah? Because I'm just going to get for you the average cost of an apartment in London, yeah? So you can get a comparison, because that's the thing. What about, though, the costs in Russia compared with the salaries? Is everything okay? Meaning, do you earn enough money to pay your costs? Because there are people in London earning a lot more than these figures, but can't pay their costs. Yeah, so it depends on where you live and things like this.
No, yeah, it depends where you live, but I think the same. It's about 1/2 of your salary per month. If you speak about Moscow, and at least it's third part of your salary if to speak about all Russia.
A third or so, yeah. So it depends where you live. Moscow would be more expensive. But guys, I've just found. I'll share my screen again for you. This is about the costs in London. But the average salary is higher in London than the rest of the UK. Yeah. So it's taken into consideration, but the costs are so high. So just to give you an idea, and so you know that actually this is not so much money when we're talking about living in somewhere like London. Okay, so for a one-bedroom house, for a one-bedroom apartment in London, if you live in East Central London, you will pay per week £285 to £325, which you have to times by 1.5 to get dollars. So that's like $450 minimum per week. For one bedroom in the East Central London, so that's $450, right? Wait, no, yeah, $450 per week, the cheapest.
But it's a central London. I think it's not a good example. Not so much people live in central of the capital. I think it's not for the middle class. No.
Okay, wait. Okay, you could, for example, live in... I can tell you from my town, yeah? So that's something I know. My town is 1 hour from London. if you want a one-bedroom apartment there, but you've also got to factor in the travel cost. The travel is so expensive. To get a season ticket to travel to London per year from my hometown is about £4,000 or £5,000 per year. Yeah, so this is $7,000 if I want to travel to London every day. So it's sometimes better to live in London, you know, because the apartment costs are cheaper in my town. One second. Wait. Flat. Wait. Maximum one bedroom, okay? Just for one bedroom.
And Martin, what it means one bedroom? It's one bedroom and it's also a living room and kitchen.
Yeah, so usually we say you can have a studio which is just one room, yeah, for everything, your bedroom and your living area in one room, plus like a kitchenette. So not a kitchen, but it'll be attached. Or one bedroom would be one bedroom and maybe one other smaller room, yeah, like the TV room or whatever. But we'll do maximum. This will come up with studios as well. But for example, this is just to buy a flat, yeah, to buy a one-bedroom flat in my town, which consists of 10,000 people. It's a very, very small town. £180,000, which times by 1.5 is what, $270,000 for a one-bedroom flat, not even in the city. This is in a place with 10,000 people. Yeah, so it's just impossible to buy. Unless you.
But it's very cheap, or even for a small Russian town, it's very cheap.
$270,000.
Oh yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Wow, cool. Okay, so 1 second. But these are okay for rent. We'll find for rent. Oh no, it's too long. We'll do that as we're speaking. Okay, so basically to say that is quite difficult. But how much? So you're saying $270,000 to buy an apartment is cheap?
In Moscow region, it's one bed apartment. Yeah.
Whoa! Yeah. For me, I think it's in London. It's more than this, but I think it's expensive. Yeah, for a small town. But okay, let's go on with that. Okay, so what should the governments do to alleviate the problems of poverty in your country? So. Joanne, what do you say? How should the government be involved in alleviating the problems of poverty?
Well, the administration of the public income, of their income from taxes.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at economics or numbers in general, but my humble opinion or my inexperienced opinion would be that taxes are a good way to collect money.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, well, at least in my country, they are totally misused.
Yeah.
And for other purposes, like personal purposes of the person who run in the government. But if they were applied for what they are, yeah. Will be completely different, because that would allow to build more homes and parks and invest in education.
Yeah.
For me, education is one of the best ways to help eradicate poverty. The problem is
educate people, empower people. Yeah. So do you know this word, to empower? Empower. Yeah. So give them the power to do something themselves with their lives. So give them education, give them knowledge, give them skills, and then people will get out of poverty automatically.
Yeah. The problem is that most of the people, because they are already poor,
yeah,
and they cannot study because of that, not because they don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't think that the majority of no one.
It shouldn't be about your money. It should be about your loaf. Yeah, you're using your loaf. If you have brains, you should always have opportunities. Yeah.
Yes. The problem is that if I don't know. I think about a poor family, a father and a mother that have to struggle for a daily meal.
Yeah.
How are they going to provide better education to their kid?
Yeah.
I think that the government should be one of the entities that provide this help.
Okay, so the government should intervene, you
people.
could say. The government should intervene, yeah.
Yes, they should intervene with an special emphasis to persons with low income. It's a right, a universal right.
Yeah. Okay, so the government should intervene and provide education and things like this for opportunities. Okay, so I found it as you were speaking. These are the cheapest ones. These are offices, yeah. So these are not ones, but there's a house share for £350. That'll be renting a room. But for example, if you want your own flat, the cheapest is £525 in my town. But don't forget, you've also got to pay the train to London if you work in London. And the train fare, usually I pay, well, because I have a discount because I have a special card, which I pay for. But usually a return ticket to London, if you don't buy a season ticket, is £30 each day. So for return, so there and back, £30, which is $45 for a 1 hour train journey. I pay around $20, so I get 1/3 off because I pay a special price every year, and I get this discount. But still, that's what $30 to return. So you've got to take into consideration not just the flat cost, but also the commuting cost. And then when you get to London, you have to pay for the underground, which is also expensive.
Sorry, how much is the distance?
1 hour by train.
How much is it?
Normally, around £30 for a return, but I pay, because I have a discount, I pay £20 return. So this is $30 with the discount. If I didn't have the discount, it would be $45 per trip.
Martin, I have a question.
Yeah.
Here in my country, in Chile, we have minimum salary that is approximately $400. How I explained it before, but we also have the ethic minimum salary that is around $600. I don't know if this exists in London, in England. There are the minimum salary and the ethic salary. That the ethic is for the companies that can pay the amount. It could be do it.
So the minimum salary would just be for things like shop staff, yeah. So people working in offices, things like this, would not get minimum salary because no one would work for it. But there's some kind of living wage. They say there's a minimum wage and there's a living wage, because the fact of the matter is that the minimum wage is the same for London as it is in some forest town in Scotland, yeah. And that's not fair because the costs in London are so high compared with other parts. And there's a living wage which is like, I think, £9 per hour in London. They're saying that you should be paid no less than £9 per hour if you work in London, you live in London. Otherwise, it's not fair. But the minimum wage is around £6, yeah. So you can still get £6 in London, but it's difficult to pay the costs. Yeah. So it depends. Yeah, but depends on the job. But most jobs wouldn't pay minimum wage. The only jobs that will pay minimum wage would be to work in a shop. Cleaners would get more than minimum wage. So cleaners would maybe get £8 or so. Yeah. So it depends on your job and what you want to do. So, but the thing is, that's the point, is that although you shouldn't be jealous, guys, if you hear salaries in the UK are high, because the costs are very high as well, yeah, and that's why the money left at the end of the month probably isn't always as good, yeah. So even from other countries and stuff, yeah. So you shouldn't be jealous ever, because but it depends on your lifestyle. So if you get a job, for example, in my town and you don't commute, then that's okay. You can get enough salary to pay the costs and you can save money. It's more than possible. But if you want the job in London and you want to travel, you want to commute, these are quite big costs to consider. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so
Martin, it also depends on quality and on size of your apartment. If you rent an apartment in London, for example, How big is it on average?
Small, very small. Property generally in the UK is very, very, very small. We have the smallest homes in Europe. Yeah, out of any European country, the average house in the UK is smaller than the average house in Europe. Because also the UK is a small country, but it's also relatively crowded. There's almost 70 million people in the UK. It's not hugely crowded, but if you compare that, for example, with Spain, which has got less than 30 million, I think, and it's a much bigger country. Land is scarce in the UK, so the houses are typically smaller. So yeah, you have small houses and expensive houses. We can just look here if you like for these apartments. These are really small ones. This is in my town. It's kind of like a bungalow thing. It's per month. It's around just under $800, and this is what you get for $800 per month. 1 room and a kitchen.
But this is like a house, I see.
Yeah. This is a house. But,
it's not an apartment.
Okay, let's go to the apartment. Okay, so here's an apartment. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, this is a very nice one, guys. Sorry, that's not a good example.
How much?
This is $1,100 per month. But this is the cheapest apartment in my town. That's what I'm saying. I've gone from the lowest price to the highest. These are just offices. You can't live there if you have some kind of commercial business. But the cheapest one is £350, and that's for a room. Yeah, so that's not for an apartment.
Does it says which is the area?
This is Petersfield, my town, which is, I can show Petersfield, it's so small. And there's nothing in Petersfield.
Sorry, but the area, how do you refer in English for the measurement of the area?
Oh, the square footage. Yeah, so we say it in square foot, but lots of countries say it in square meters. Let's have a look. So for this one, the cheapest. Okay, it's not a flat; it's a little house, but that's the cheapest one. This is. Oh, it doesn't say. This one doesn't say.
Yeah, it's very small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's small for $800. Plus, if you work in London, you have to pay that price. Yeah, so it's quite expensive. And look, we said the for a single person, $600. If you earn more than $600 per month, you are not in poverty. Yeah, and this is $800. Yeah, so go figure.
So, Martin, if you live in this house, you are in poverty, or not?
No. Well, no, because you can live in this house if you earn £100,000 a year. But this is an okay house. Yeah, this is fine. But I'm just saying that if you, for example, earn an average salary in London and you commute, then it's difficult. Yeah, so maybe.
Martin, who built this house in your countryside? Can you build a house by yourself?
No, it's too difficult. You have to get what we call planning permission, and it takes ages, and it's very, very difficult to get. So you need permission from the local government. Your design has to be in fitting with what the local government want. It takes a really long time. So near where we lived, we had some very dodgy neighbours. Do you know what dodgy means? Okay, so dodgy means a bit, because there are some loopholes in the UK. Do you know what a loophole means?
Loophole, what does it mean?
So a loophole is you have the law and then you somehow can get around the law, okay? So the loophole is your way of getting around the law. The law is fixed, but then you've got to get around it. And there are some loopholes in the UK. For example, if you live in the countryside, it's very easy to get planning permission to build a barn. Do you know what a barn is? A barn? I'll show you some pictures. Okay, so a barn is where the cows live, okay? So to get a barn is very easy. This is just a barn. So to build, if you have a field, you can build a barn quite easily. But what's becoming more popular is to convert barns into houses. These can make very, 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 very nice houses. So what you do is you build a barn without any planning permission. You need some planning permission. I'm not going to say none, but it's a lot easier to build a barn. And then 6 months later, you convert it into a house. That process is easier than if you just say, I want to build a house. Because if you build a house in the field in the countryside, they're like, no, we've got to protect English countryside. We don't want any development. Yeah, but if you do it this way, there are some ways around it. So there are some loopholes, but generally speaking, to get planning permission, even if you want to extend your house, is very, very difficult in the UK because they want to preserve, you know, how it looks or the countryside or whatever. Especially where I come from, which is a national park, which has protective status. Where Petersfield is this is in the national park, and it's even more so difficult in an area like this because this area is seen to be outstanding beauty or whatever in the country, and they want to protect it. So it's very difficult. But how is it in your countries with this? So Zuran, I've heard, I had a Chinese friend in the UK, and she said that her family built a house in the country without any problems, meaning just built the house.
We should in country they should apply to the leader of their village, and the government will give them a part of land, and they can build their own country.
Yeah.
They can build their own house, but that house they don't have water supply and sewer and heat and other units. They have to take water from the well.
Okay, so you don't have like the facilities and stuff. You have to get the stuff in the traditional way. By the way, lei, €1 is about 1.15, or it used to be 1.2 euros to the pounds. So 500 pounds would be 600 euros, around.
Can you speak again?
Yeah, so if you have 500 pounds, this will be around 600 euros. Okay?
Okay.
So about 1.2, I think about 1.2, but it depends on the exchange rate, I can't remember. Okay, so what about the situation in your country, Dennis? If you want to build a house, like, I don't know, a dacha or something, what's the process?
What's the process?
Yeah.
I don't know. You just you just should have money. If you have money, it's very easy. I don't know. I think it's more cheaper to buy not a house, but buy a piece of land,
Yeah.
and to try to build a house by yourself.
Okay, so but get the land and then try to build it yourself. It would be cheaper, you're saying, that way?
Yeah, I think so.
But it's not like there's some regulations, yeah, that you have to get a particular architect, and if the government don't like it, they can tell you to change the design of your own house.
No.
Okay. So it's
Really not.
do you know, we had a neighbour who was extending her house, and the government made her change the design because they didn't like the colour of the bricks. Yeah, so she chose a different colour brick to what the government wanted, so she had to change the whole design because of the colour of the bricks, yeah, which I think is quite too much work. But Emmanuel, what do you say? So the situation in Chile, to build a house, something like this, is it easy?
Yeah, it's not so easy if you don't have the money for building a house. You have to go to the bank and have a credit.
Yeah.
And it's not very easy to have a good interest rate if you don't have a good history in your bank. Sometimes if you are young and you want money for your house, you will give the money, but you will have a very high interest rate, and maybe it's not be very worth it.
So if you have no track record, if you have not a good credit history, then it's difficult then to get the finance. Okay, yeah. So you need to get a good track record and stuff like this.
Yeah, you have to have a history in your bank and years. If you are young, if you are you have 20 or 30 years old and you don't have money, it's so hard to get money in a cheaper price.
Yeah, to get the finance, stuff like that. So yeah, any more comments on this one? We're going to continue maybe on other topics in the next class. We're going to continue talking about poverty and money and stuff like this. But yeah, any questions that you would like to ask anyone in the group? So if you want to say, oh, what's it like? I've heard this in Russia or I've heard this in Chile. You can ask each other questions now if you like. Yeah. So any questions? Cool. Okay. Everyone's silent. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do one more question, I think, and then we'll see what the time is. Do you think in the future poverty will ever be eradicated? Do you know this word, eradicated?
Removed.
Completely. So eradicated meaning it won't exist anymore. Do you think there will ever be a day where poverty is completely eradicated?
No, never. It comes to the old question we discussed. It's about the communism and capitalism.
Yeah, so capitalism basically is strong and is weak.
Yeah, if capitalism exists, then poverty will exist.
Okay, so as long as capitalism exists, poverty will exist. Okay, so that's interesting. Huan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, and also I would add that corruption at government levels make poverty to stay, to how could you say, promotes poverty.
Okay, so yeah, it promotes poverty. It increases poverty, maybe. Yeah, so
increase poverty. Yes.
The more corrupt the government are, that means the more corrupt the people. No, the more impoverished the people are. Okay, yes. So because it takes money out of the system. Okay, that's interesting. Chow, I just want to refer back to what you've just said. Same as fake communism. What do you mean?
What do I mean? Fake communism.
Fake communism.
I mean, they're just autarky. It is not real communism. And actually, I want to say, I think as long as there is a conflict of interest, the different hierarchy in the society, there would be poverty. One person just extract the other, there would be. And I think it is some deep in their human, I don't know, maybe in the future or not.
Okay, so it's interesting. Let's continue with this in the next class. If you can join in, we're going to talk about the same topic and also about who benefits from poverty, who wants people to be in poverty and things like this. That's what we're going to talk about and some other topics afterwards. So I hope you can all join in. But for now, I've got to hang up on this one and go to the next one. So take care and interesting discussion as always. So speak to you later.
Yeah, see you.